now. What else, if you know any, are you excited about in the near future, or even not the near future, as far as games that are coming out, or maybe something that you plan on recording that you haven't already, that you have the game? I know that you are the man to go to out of the three of us for the upcoming games from different franchises and stuff. Like, I know that I know you guys had Dark Souls and you played it, but what else? What else do you see coming that you're either excited for or that you really couldn't give a crap about?
Okay, so this portion of it could probably be a whole episode in itself on Gen Con. Gen Con happened in August. A whole bunch of new games were released or, got announced. There's only one we really need to be talking about.
Okay.
And then there's another thing that I want to bring up with Chris, and I'll get his opinion on it. But number one is the 4th edition of Twilight Imperium. After, I think, 10 years, they're doing another edition of this game. Now, we will not talk about why we haven't played this. No,
I'm not letting you get past this.
We will not be talking about that on this podcast. That might be another time. But a new version of Twilight Imperium. Doug, you've played this game. You are one of the go-to players. Chris, I think you've tried it once, and you probably do not want to play this game again.
I've played this game like 4 times.
Chris has been in there.
Yeah.
Well, where were you last time?
Maybe last time you didn't invite me.
Wow. Possible. I think I don't want to play this game again.
No, okay, I really like it. But anyway.
Can you give a quick rundown of what Twilight Imperium, this opera game, is for anyone who's listening to this podcast who doesn't know about it?
Okay, so he told me that there was basically a game that was, a mix of like Star Trek and Risk. And I wasn't a big Risk player, but I was like, yo, I'm down to come try it. Let's try it out. And I had no idea what I was getting into, but I like space stuff, so I figured I would. And then we sit down and we actually build out. You start from the beginning and you build out the universe, so it's different every time, pretty much, right? You have tiles, and each person puts one down as you go around, and you can kind of choose where you want it to go, and you make they're hexagons, correct? Hexagon grid. Okay, it has been a while since we played. The one thing that I love about the game is actually, first let me go on how you win. So you win by getting victory points. You can get victory points by doing different things, by killing people, by doing like secret missions and stuff. And you don't want to show your secret mission to other people, because if they find out what yours is, they get a point. One thing I love about the game so much is that there are different races. You don't all just get different color ships. There are different races in the game, and that makes the game fantastic, because although some races start out with amazing starting lineups, they can be completely defeated by a race that starts with almost nothing but can manipulate the laws of the game. And that is actually how I ended up winning my first game. I was this turtle race, and they are not fighters, but I was able to manipulate the rules within the game. These guys were diplomats, into my favor, and I literally just sat at my base and waited. Everyone killed each other. I built up a nice nest, I'll call it, and it came down to me versus someone else, and he couldn't break through it. Yeah. There's like another race that starts out, they're like the fire, like the ember race. They start out with a war sun. To put it into perspective, a ship rolls a dice, and if you get a certain number, you get a hit, right? The 2 small ships have 1 hit point each, bam, bam. These ships roll like 3 dice, and you're getting like 15 per hit. They're almost impossible to kill. You have to kill them like all in one shot, pretty much, or else they can turn back over, and they're amazing. And there's another race that they're kind of like the Reapers from Mass Effect, where they can teleport through any wormhole on the map, and that makes them unique because no one else can do this. So I find the game to be fantastic, also because, and it's actually something that I didn't get a chance to mention before, was with board games, and I don't understand how people scoff at them, because it brings people together to play, like to see each other as friends. You all sit down, you have a good time. You know what I mean? And in this case, Twilight Imperium, man, we will get together, we'll say 8 o'clock, and we'll probably start by 10 because no one shows up. Yep. Then we'll go get breakfast, right? We'll start the game at 10 o'clock, then we'll sit all day and get dinner around 4 or 5. Then we'll sit all day again and play till like 2 in the morning. So it's an event.
It's an event, and to that point, and that's why I do like this. You need to plan this out. Like, I pre-ordered it. I'm going to be getting it in October. This is going to be the first game that we play on the board game table that we'll be in. But you need to send an invite out and say, hey, this date, November, whatever, book it. You know what I mean? You have to give well ahead notice because people have to block out their day. Obviously they have to be aware. This is not a game you can just invite anybody. They need to be vetted. They need to know what's going on. And the good thing about this is, since it's starting back from its original box, we're down to 6 players instead of 8. So it's not like we're looking for that 8th player to make our game.
Wait, is the expansion only 6, or we're doing 6?
Well, it's a brand new. It's starting all over, and it's only 6 players.
Oh, wow. Check that out. Okay. Yep. That's awesome.
Yep. So they've changed a lot of things to it. They said they streamlined it a little bit more, but honestly, how much could they? They can't really streamline anything. Right. But I think they switched the technology up a little bit to make it a little bit easier. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this, and this is, out of everything that they mentioned at Gen Con, this is really the one that I'm excited about. It's nothing new, but I'm just excited to get it back to the table.
And I'd like to mention that it's a game that's hard to learn because you're very limited what you can do every time you have a turn. But once you get used to it, you can have all your stuff planned out, goes around the table, gets to you, I'm doing this. Then you're just going around the table again, and while that's happening, you're planning your next move, I'm doing this. You know what I mean? So It's hard to bring in, if you bring in a single new player with, say there was 6, that there were 6 of us and one of us was a new guy, a single new player halts the game massively.
Yeah.
Like a massive amount. And that's okay, everybody was there, right? Like I was there at one point. But it's also a game that everyone needs to realize, just like Monopoly, which is an infinitely shorter game, but Monopoly is still categorized as like a longer session to play, a board game, is that when somebody quits, it ruins everything. Not to go into details of our last thing, but if you have a group of people and somebody quits, no, it doesn't even matter what they do. It automatically affects everything. Everything's thrown off. All your plans could be down, could be way down, because like, what if I was going to kill that person to get my last point and now they're not here? Like I could lose a game that took 16 hours to play because somebody quit. I don't mind if it's a 10-15 minute game and we just move on to something else. 16 hours and all that investment. Yeah. Nah, man. You got to be in there, and I don't care if you are dead last the entire time. You are not allowed to leave. You at least have to become a random element and start trying to kill people, because then you become, like a problem.
Yeah.
Which is fair. If that's how you want to play the game, I don't care if you started like that and you had if you had no intention on winning and you just wanted to be a menace, that becomes part of that universe. So, I don't know. I think that's my favorite game that we've played so far.
Chris, the next topic, or this other game that I'm excited about, I don't really know if it was really announced at Gen Con. I just know it's coming out I think in December as well. It's called Charterstone. It's another legacy-style game where there might be 30 different boxes that you open up, right? It's a worker placement style game, and literally you start with maybe 1 or 2 rules. I think they said that there was going to be no rule book to this game. I think since then they've actually started just to give you a tutorial walkthrough. But all the different boxes that you open up will introduce a new way to play. And I just wanted to throw this out there because here's another legacy-style game. You did not play Pandemic. Neither one of you have played Pandemic Legacy, which is fantastic. Probably one of the best games I've ever played. But you both have played Risk Legacy, which was the first Legacy-style game.
We still have not yet completed it, but yes.
Which I am ready to play.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And we've played Seafall. Now, Seafall, let's just stick to your thoughts of the legacy aspects of the game, because that's kind of where this conversation's going, because this is what the next Charterstone's going to be. So I'll pitch that to you. What are your thoughts on Legacy style, the pros and cons of it?
I really like legacy games. I enjoy them because, just the same way as I enjoy like Destiny and MMOs, it's a progression. You are keeping an area or an upgrade or resources and using it later. It's kind of like this thing. I like to hoard things and hold things, keep things. So it really like satisfies that need that I have when I'm playing games. So legacies are really cool because of that. You can keep everything, and just like you said, rules change, or sometimes rules are added. Like in Seafall, rules are added and things change. So it's never the same game over and over. But yet it's constantly changing. But yet my problem is, and not really my problem because I don't buy them, but you can only play them once. That's my big thing. I'm a super cheapskate. If you two guys know, I'm super cheap. I'm not going to buy a game and play it one time. However, when Corey's situation, or someone who has a bunch of games, playing a game once is not too far fetched.
Right.
And you have so many other things to partake in, to play. It's not that bad, And yes, Seafall is we're only going to play it once, but we've played it maybe 10, 12 times by the time we beat it, So maybe that is worth its gameplay, but that's my thing. You just can't do anything after you play a legacy game most of the time. It's done.
Well,
right.
The way that I see, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the way I see that is the same thing with a video game campaign. You know what I mean? You may not play it again. I guess like that's my kind of balance. If it was a great experience, I think that's like an awesome thing. For instance, like Time Stories, is that I don't know if that's the same company, but once you beat Time Stories, that's a single sitting per episode, really. But they're fantastic experiences. So like
right, and what? I'm glad you guys both talked, because Chris, you brought up the point that everyone on one side says. And
yes.
Doug, you brought up the point that I would say, there's so many games out there today. What do you want to spend your money on?
Right.
Do you want to spend your money on Monopoly and just play that as many times as you want? That's fine. But we've done that. Give me something different. And when I first heard that you play stickers on the board, you write in pen, you rip cards up, that is different. And that's where I'll spend my money, because it's new and it's exciting, and when you rip something up for the first time, you're like, why did I just do that? And you're like, when you accept it, and then you like our pandemic game, like I put it on like a picture frame. So we'll always have that, and I'll hang that up. So all of our legacy games will be like a great memory, and we're also currently in the middle of a game called Gloomhaven. So this is a dungeon crawler type game. And it's kind of a legacy element as well. So you level up your characters, you put stickers on different guys, you write on the board. The actual board of like what levels you get to go to or what dungeons start off with really nothing. But as you discover things, you place different stickers on the board, like, oh, here's a castle, or here's a forest area that we can go to. And, people were complaining about, oh, I don't want to use a sticker. How else can I do this? Let me tell you. There's about 90 missions in this game. Andrea and I are about 25 missions in, and we must have spent at least over 100 hours playing this game. So if you really, am I ever going to replay this game again? God, I hope not. By the time I'm done, I'll be looking forward to Gloomhaven 2, let's say. So once you get over that step and accept it, then a legacy board game just becomes exactly what it is. And, it's fun and different. Rather than like, oh my God, am I worried about playing this again? Just go pick up another game on the shelf. And to Chris, your point, if you don't play that many board games, well, then you're right. Maybe a legacy game isn't the one you go out and purchase.
Right.
So those are the two things that I'm looking forward from Gen Con. Now I want to turn it over to Doug again on our most recent, I'll call it a disappointment. And Doug, do you know where I'm going with this?
Man, yes. Okay. So we're talking about To Hunt a Killer.
You got it.
Okay. So To Hunt a Killer is over the past couple years, through going to PAX, there's been a rise, and I don't know how long this has lasted for. So if I'm being like super ignorant, I'm sorry, but from what I've seen is there's kind of a rise of this style of, I'll call it a game. I won't call it a board game, but we'll call it a game where it's like a mail-in subscription game. So you pay so much money per month and they mail you things, like a box full of items, and it's like a mystery that you have to solve, right? And you do this along with a community of other players